You send in 41,000 emails, 350 voice messages, 744 tweets, 48 Facebook messages, and
Right. So today I'm going to make I've made a couple of videos in November already. I'm just trying to get a new phone. It's not really going to plan. I don't know if my microphones have stopped working with this phone and whatever else, but either way, today I'll upload this for November. It's November the 21st. Critical condition still continues all day, every day. Internal braking sessions, stripping out the power of my own life. My jaw has now been wired shut for about 4 days internally. Physically snagged shut. Apparently my power, that's all I get all day. Transgression of power, talking rubbish about power all day, every day. Apparently they're entitled to your power because it's criminal. My jaw has been wired shut for 4 days, physically incapable of moving or speaking for myself, wired shut. Problems still continuing all day, every day, no different to any other day. Costing me every single day to be a victim of internal braking sessions all day, every day. Crippling transgressions, crippling accusations, defamation, threats, high-risk torture all day, every day internally, with my ability to get power internalised. Crippling, degrading. This is now 9 years. We're going on next month. I'm 33 next month and it'll be 10 years. I've been subject to this all day, every day, costing me every day of my life. My jaw is completely wide shut. My entire life's encapsulated. I'm still completely incapable of getting full erections. I don't believe I've had a full erection now in about at least 3 months, but it could be more. I can't even remember, but well over 3 months now, and it's getting worse and worse. My sex drive's getting stripped out. As I said, my jaw is now getting that wide shut. It's been shut now for 4 days internally, snagged shut internally for 4 days or so. Ability to breathe getting worse and worse. Crippling my ability to feel any sexual tension, getting worse and worse. My ability to get sexually aroused, getting worse and worse. Completely abolished. It's absolutely abolished. They might say it's because you're 32, 33, but you could be 60-year-old and still have a sense of sexual tension or sexual arousal or whatever else. It's not testosterone or your body that's playing it. I'm being manually physically restricted, or having my ability to breathe, ability to be sexually aroused, physically restricted. This cannot be misconstrued with any kind of capitalist control over public or scientific studies on testosterone or anything like this. It is not to be confused whatsoever with anything of that nature. It is solely institutionalization being misused to apparently stop somebody committing crime. That's what they're rationalising an institutional self with. The institutional self is based on a deviant self, whether it's mentally ill or criminal, and they use it to prevent that or to aid that, and that's usually the total opposite of the effect that it's actually having. And I'm obviously sat here on all these videos being a prime example of that. Like I've just said, my ability to breathe for myself's being snagged, getting worse and worse. I'm struggling to breathe. The pressure on my body is encapsulating my body's getting worse and worse. My jaw's been wired shut for 4 days. I can't remember. Well over 3 months I've not had a full erection for, because they stripped out all my sexual arousal or lust for women. They've completely abolished any kind of sexual tension or sexual excitement. All day, every day, I'm subject to crippling transgressions or crippling braking sessions up to 3,000 times a day plus, imitating crippling transgressions, crippling braking sessions with the magnitude of 1,000 crimes all day, every day in a critical condition, and this is still continuing. So I've said in all the videos, there's no doubt it's Shepcoate Lane's responsibility for writing this complaint off as false or improper. There's nothing else I can do. I've made a full complaint about it. They've basically called me a liar and branded me a liar through court, saying I'm a liar and I'm not entitled to any life whatsoever. So I'll just sit with an ongoing institutionalisation process costing me every day of my life, every second of my life, with crime being committed against me all day, every day, just being used as a punch bag. Problem still continues. It's now 9 years. This started at 23-year-old, where it become critical every single minute of every day, and it's still going on now. There's no lie about that. There is no joke about that, beyond even somebody like me that's resilient, beyond somebody like me that's obviously apparently criminal, beyond somebody like me that's accepting lenience, or potentially not really middle class, accepting full, I don't want the best in life or whatever else. But the fact is, I'm sat here as somebody resilient and harder, that's basically saying it's inhumane to stay alive for 9 years. So if they've put in the system that I'm having a life, or they've put through the system that I'm fit to work or having a great life, the simple fact is I've been given a forced suicide now in 2016, and it is now 2025, 9 years later, and there is not one day within those 9 years where that's ever changed. So it's been a forced suicide for 9 years every day. And also within those 9 years, there's not been one day where the institutional self that's got my life encapsulated, with my jaw encapsulated and my sex drives internalised, has been taken off, and it never will get taken off. There's not been one day where it's not been on and progressively getting worse and worse. There's not been one day where that institutional self has not been progressively getting worse. So for 9 years I've been in an institutional self that's a forced suicide that's been progressively getting worse every day, costing me every day of my life. So if they've put through the system different, it will never ever be any different. Never. It's just going to get worse and worse. As I said, now it's to the point where for the last 4 days now, my jaw is completely snagged shut. All my sexual tension or sexual interest or sexual arousal with women's completely abolished. I've said in videos now for months I've accepted I will never have sex again, and it's becoming more and more apparent that what I said 6 months ago, if not a year ago, I know I will never have sex again. And as the days are going on now, on a daily basis, it's becoming more and more evident to me that that theory or that thesis is 100% correct. And it's not a theory, and it's not necessarily a thesis, it's now apparent to me I'm not even physically capable of engaging in sex whatsoever of any kind, because they've abolished any sexual excitement or sexual interest or ability to get sex power whatsoever. So as far as I'm concerned, anybody, it's inhumane to be alive on that aspect, never mind the pain and suffering. But they've completely ripped out or abolished any sexual interest or sexual arousal whatsoever. I've never been arrested for any sex crimes. I've got nothing to do with any sex crimes. But the fact is, I've never been in a sexual relationship now at my age. So to me, they've made this decision at an early age. Problem still continues, costing me every day of my life. I'm subject to crippling apologies all day internally, crippling transgressions, crippling breaking sessions. All day, every day, cost me the best years of my life. So critical condition still continues, destroying every day of my life, and they're not wanting to account for it. You turn up in a police station, Shepcote Lane, with this full complaint, and they've basically incriminated as false or improper, so it's a false suicide, no doubt. There's no doubts whatsoever it can be anything other than that. I will say now that the arrest in Shepcote Lane last year for this complaint is the worst arrest I've ever seen, ever. The worst it wasn't the worst arrest. It was to the extent where I don't think police could get any worse, and they obviously did do any worse. They could do worse because they've now arrested me for it, making it worse. So it's all Shepcote Lane's liability. It can't be anybody else's liability. They've wrote off the full complaint as false or improper, all these videos and all the complaints. They come to arrest me and claimed, and they didn't claim, that all these reports are just false and improper and it's illegal. So they've incriminated my power essentially. Officers are arresting me for complaints that have got their colleagues in jail. So that's basically the situation I'm in. I've got Shepcote Lane officers arresting me in the morning for these complaints randomly, for making complaints that have outright got their colleagues in prison. So I'm getting arrested, but they're keeping power between themselves, and I'm losing every day of my life still, and nothing's changing. So problem still continues all day, every day. Internal breaking sessions all day, still homeless, still obviously it's not a still about still not engaging in sexual relations. There's not a chance on earth I'll ever have sex ever again at 32-year-old, because they're completely stripped out or apparently killed or abolished any sex drive or sexual tension whatsoever. This is a massive decision to make with somebody's life. People commit life sentences for sexual pleasure. So the fact is, they're costing people things that's worth more than what the jobs are without what reason? And what reason would they be now abolishing my sexual drives or stopping me having sex for what? I've got a street robbery conviction. and I've just got this conviction last year for these complaints for false or improper information. So that's it. So I've not got no life sentences, there's nothing of a sexual nature, there's nothing whatsoever, but it wouldn't matter if they did or they didn't, because this has now been going on for a long time. I've never been in a sexual relationship my entire life, and I don't believe now, after reviewing it, I've had full sexual intercourse since 2018. It's now 2025, nearly 2026 next month, which is 7 years, nearly 8 years. I've not completed full sexual intercourse because officers internalising my sex drives and sex power. So I'm going to conclude what I'm saying in true and honest form. The facts of the matter are the facts of the matter are this, and this is just the truth from my perspective. I don't know what the scientific evidence to support this is. I don't know what the system's view or opinion on this is. All I can say is this is the truth from where I'm sat now on November the 20th, 2025. I can guarantee now for a 100% fact that the institutional self on me has stripped out every single bit of my sex power in society, or ability to get sex power in society, every single bit of my ability to get sexually aroused or sexually excited around women, every single bit of my ability to get sexually excited or sexual pleasure or gratification of any kind whatsoever, and completely abolished or obliterated or stripped out every single bit of sexual arousal or whatever else. And I can almost guarantee 100% it's nothing to do with any genetics, diet, any rubbish reason of that nature. You can specifically feel the institutional self physically restraining or snagging your ability to get sexual tension or sexual power with women in society. So the problem still continues. The video just went off then, the flash, so I'm gonna have to put these two clips together as one video because the flash turned off. But just explaining, it's still carrying on. The internal breaking sessions all day every day, stripping my power out into an institutional self, not changing whatsoever. It's all day every day, internal breaking sessions, causing severe pain, snagging my ability to get sexually aroused or physical sex drives, and physically restraining my ability to breathe for myself, getting worse and worse. And I'll be honest, this has only started happening seriously since Shepcote Lane last year. About 3-4 months after that, I started the gym. All of a sudden my sex drive started getting physically restrained, and my ability to breathe for myself got physically restrained. So whatever they've put in the system in Shepcote Lane has caused that, because it's only happened since then. And I know that because it happens frequently, like in jail. I went to jail for the first time ever, and within that sentence I've had the first feeling ever of suicide and the first feeling ever of what I class as mental illness or something suicidal or mental anguish, and I've been in a critical state ever since. So what I'm saying is they're rationalising whatever they want in the system, and it's having an impact on me in society, and that's a great example of that. I've been arrested by police officers in Shepcote Lane, gone to magistrates court. I can't believe I've ever had any issues with full physical erections before, or ability to breathe for myself before. Within a short time after that, I've now been having my ability to breathe physically restrained and my ability to get full erections restrained physically, and it's just getting progressively worse than not getting addressed. So problem still continues. They just do what they want. All I can say is it's inhumane to be alive. There's no doubts whatsoever. I can honestly say that it's been like that for 6 years. It's not mental illness. There's no such thing as mental illness. This is physical restraint on your body. As I said, my jaw's now been physically wired shut for 4 days internally. Physically snagged shut for 4 full days. I'm laid at my mum's house, laid down, and my jaw's just been shut that entire time. I'm speaking now on this camera, but you don't realise internally my physical power over my own life and jaw internally is encapsulated shut. So yeah, I'm speaking now on this video and communicating, but you don't realise internally my power is actually wired shut. Physically snagged shut internally, and my jaw's literally physically snagged shut in my capabilities to speak for myself. It leaves you in a drone-like brain dead state with your entire life internalised and encapsulated. It's not black magic, it's not voodoo. It's not me being mentally ill talking rubbish. I don't even take drugs, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke cigarettes. I can guarantee it's none of that. If I could ever show anybody the severity of the institutional self, I've been in jail and near enough every single institutionalisation case has got an institutional self on that's shut with all the power pulled out, so they can't show aggression. They're in a full controlled state, a full drone-like controlled state, and that's what's happening on this occasion. My jaw is completely wired shut and it's pressing on my internal organs all day, every day. Like I said, they've snagged my ability to get full erections, my ability to conversate or speak correctly. It basically snagged my entire jaw shut. I can't breathe or anything. It's complete. They strip all your life out into an institutional self and internalise it in a controlled state. It costs somebody every day of their life, and that's what's happening here. It's just getting worse and worse all day, every day. Jaw is aching all day. See, that opening your mouth like that is apparently a sign of anxiety or mental illness, but I know that's to be a load of shit. I know it's because internally the institutional self snagging your power to speak, and it puts pressure on your jaw, and it hurts. It really does hurt. So problem still continues all day, every day. Crippling braking sessions still continuing. Internal crippling braking sessions all day, every day, to strip out my power and internalise it. So it's an ongoing institutionalisation process costing me every fucking day of my life, with crippling braking sessions, committing crime against my power all day, every day. Crippling braking sessions all day, every day. So our problem still continues, not mental illness. There's no such thing. This is nothing in relation to mental illness. It's making a mockery of the system and mental illness or crime itself, because the officers creating their own institutional punch bags. It's a crime against humanity for knobsack officers and little dickhead officers misusing the institutional self, making their own mental illnesses up and making their own problems up to create a human punch bag that they can use to squash their own anxieties. That's what they'll have been told to do. But there's people like me sat here that's now lost nine years of his life for detective constables and officers in the system to squash their own anxieties, but I've got bloodlines and genetics cleaner than theirs. I'm not getting into the old capitalism rubbish. The fact is, it's true. They shouldn't have sufficient power to really be doing that. My jaw has now been physically wired shut for 4 days internally, putting pressure on my skull. I'm subject to crippling braking sessions internally, committing crime against my power up to 3,000 times a day, stripping it out all day, every day, causing serious crippling agony and leaving me in a critical condition. Like I said, it's not a critical condition that's acceptable, a critical condition that's inhuman, that I've classed as inhumane to stay alive. That's how serious it's been all day, every day. So problem still continues. I'm just in the process of getting my microphones, getting a new phone for the microphones I've got, so that hopefully, it's now November the 20th, I'll probably make another video by the end of November with the proper microphone so that the video can actually hear me. So problem still continues November the 20th, 2025. Jaw's been physically shut for 4 days. More and more of my sex drives getting stripped out, and crippling transgressions up to 3,000 times a day still continues internally, furthering and worsening the brain dead institutional state. Problem still continues, costing me every single day of my life. Problem still continues, Shepcoate Lanes liability, every bit of that.